Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the second time we're going to be diving into Vinland Saga. We're talking about episode 5 through 8 today, and next week is going to be the last time we're talking about Vinland Saga before we put it onto our board. We've done a few anime here in season 3 of the show. Got an S rank anime and Delicious and Dungeon. We got some other anime there, and we'll see where Vinland Saga ends up landing. But after Vinland Saga, we have so many more anime to go. We have a ton that are suggested by me or Matt, but also you, the community. So if you want to get an anime added to the chest for us to possibly pick out randomly and watch it next, a $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch is how you get an anime there. Just give us a name of the anime and we can add it in there. I don't go on these anime journeys alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. I've been playing a lot of board games. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I'm almost caught up on Severance. I'm on season 2, episode 7, I think, or 8.
Oh, episode 7? Oh
I
man.
think 7. I think it's 7. And it's like now I'm at that point where it's like I don't want to keep watching because I don't want it to be over.
TVA, honestly, I think it was episode 8 or 9. Like it was very close to the end as well, where I was like, I just want to live in this space. I just want to live in the space where nothing, like it's all kind of in motion, in limbo a little bit. And I was like, I just want to live here a little bit. I thought you were gonna say you were playing video games. Did you hear about the new Switch 2? You gonna pick that
I
up?
am clued in on all the Switch 2 announcements. I don't know. I might pick it up. I have a very complicated relationship with Nintendo, as I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to. Where it's just kind of like they just always kind of march to the beat of their own drum. And when I see physical released games for $89.99, there's something in me that just kind of like, yeah, the good times are gone.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can get
golden years.
You can get Mario Kart World with it for $40, quote unquote. But
and like the whole idea of like, oh, we have these like enhanced versions of Switch 1 games for the Switch 2. So if you already have them, you just have to buy the upgrade pass. You don't have to buy the whole game again, just half the price. And it's like,
what are you doing?
Like back in I just remember back in I think it was Gen 6 into 7, there was a lot of like that stuff where it was like, oh, Xbox 360, Xbox One. On the Xbox One, we have like enhanced versions of these games, and they're free if you already have it. It becomes the updated version. But Nintendo's like, you know what? We could put a price tag on that.
Well, they're still selling games at market price, even though they've been out for like years.
They are still selling Breath of the Wild, their day one release with the console of the Switch 1, still $59.99.
Yeah,
MSRP.
I hate it. It's the worst.
And it's like after tax. And then somebody actually at work today, like not to get this energy in here just for a moment, because it is an honest question that got posed, and I was like, that's a good question. With this weekend with like tariffs and stuff, like does that mean that it's all going to get even more expensive than it is now? And it's like, I'm pretty sure, I
read a whole thing
right now, and everything's about to get 10% more expensive. So
it's gonna be fine. I'll get a Steam Deck or whatever. Hello, everybody watching in the live chat. Hello, Kaylin. Vinland Saga. I see it doesn't show up on the chat, but I see your little goat when we mentioned Severance. Appreciate it. But hello, everybody watching live and later on. We're here to talk about Vinland Saga. I don't know where we're going, but I'm just going down the little river. Just speaking broadly, like we are just on an adventure here. I don't know exactly the story yet, and maybe we can revisit this at the end. I know Thorfinn's story. That's cool. It's very laid out here, but there's so many other moving parts going on, and I'm like, ooh, where? Like I can't picture where it's going, and I really like that. I don't know how all of this is going to end up playing out. How do you feel about the story so far?
I guess, yeah, that's something that I haven't really given the time to think about. I've just been kind of like consuming the story as it's been being delivered, because it's been being delivered in a pretty compelling and what's the word that I'm looking for? It paced out to that I find is just like very perfect for like the kind of story that it's trying to tell, which like I do enjoy. I don't know if I mentioned it last week or if I was talking about it to people like, you know, in person, but as Thorfinn was kind of like getting reluctantly pulled into Askeladd's crew at the end of episode 4, it was definitely giving me like, you know, I drew a mental parallel to like Guardians of the Galaxy and Peter Quill and Yondu with those two, where it's like, you know, you have this literal gang of pirates in this case, where they're bringing on this little kid who has a bunch of potential because of his bloodline, and they're probably, you know, by proxy, he's going to turn into like a beast and be able to just kind of like do whatever he wants, even against the whims of the people that, you know, made him, helped him become that powerful, so to speak. So it was an interesting dynamic setup, and I thought that I definitely thought earlier on we were going to get some sort of, not him killing Askeladd, but like, you know, I guess preemptively when like, you know, he threw the dagger, I was like, oh, the dagger is going to like get jammed into his arm type deal. But it's just like, nope. Like he
He
can't
gets nothing.
just get thrown to the side by this dude. And even again, later on, when I think finally something's about to happen with it, it turns it on its head again. And it's like, nope, he's still just a kid. And so it's interesting to have this story delivered where we keep having years of time that are passing sometimes, and to see just kind of the person that he's developing into is it's sad and it's kind of harrowing, and we see that kind of played out to, you know, it's in a very depressing way.
A little bit.
So
Yeah. Let's get into it. Episode 5, The Troll's Child. What happens in episode 5?
life on the ship is hard for Thorfinn without any food or water. He grows weaker day by day, and then one day after the pirates take shore, Thorfinn attempts to attack Askeladd in his sleep but hesitates, saying the next day that only a coward would attack him in his sleep, and challenges him to a duel. Back home, Leif breaks the news to Helga and Ylva, with Ylva going through all the stages of depression for the rest of the day. Thorfinn manages to kill a wolf while protecting himself in the woods and begins to regain his strength while training with his dagger. He almost gets the upper hand on Askeladd after challenging him again, but Askeladd tells him he refuses to duel him any longer until he proves himself on the battlefield.
Oh boy, you mentioned pacing already, and it's like I like first, I like the pacing of the show. Okay, great. Get that out of the way. You already knew I was going to say that. But I like that in some it's the way I visualize the story is just definitely a river, because sometimes we are on the water and we sort of hit a rock or something, and we're just kind of staying in this little area, this little space of time, and then sometimes we're rushing through in points, and I'm like, ooh, like it feels very differed every single time, but I'm enjoying it so much. Like in episode 5, at the start of the episode, we leave off pretty much where we ended episode 4, and it's like, okay, we're taking a little bit slow time because this is his first time being with them. Now he's with the pirate crew in Askeladd, and we're taking some time there, and I really like that slower pacing. Like what does it mean to be a pirate with them, and how is Thorfinn gonna fit in this crew if he decides to?
Yeah, and I like that it's not just like, you know, I it presents all of it in a way that I buy into, where it's just like, oh, we killed some guy, we took his kid on the crew, and now he's one of us. It's not like that type of energy. It's like Thorfinn's just kind of like on the he's like a dying animal that they just feel bad for, and they're not going to put out of their misery. I mean, I guess they don't necessarily, that's a hard well, you would put out an animal out of its misery if it's just sitting there dying. But they
Yeah.
know that like he has a chance to survive, so they're just kind of like, we're not going to kill him. Askeladd even says at one point, I don't like killing kids. That's not something I just wake up and want to do. So he's just a gnat. Yeah, Askeladd even says that at one point. There's a gnat buzzing around my bed all night. That's why I couldn't sleep. He looks at him
Mhm.
like as a bug. You're an inconvenience, and it would probably be more inconvenient for me to squash you than for me to just pretend that you don't exist, which
Do
is
you
what he
think,
continues to do, and everybody else does.
yeah, do you think that they're at the beginning, because we see Askeladd when, Thorfinn's going to decides to try and kill him, or thinks about it, at least kill him in his sleep. We see that Askeladd is awake. Is
Mhm.
it that he is thinking about what has happened, and do you think he has a little bit of remorse? Do you think he is just that good of a fighter, so he knows that Thorfinn's there, or like what?
I
I
think
think
he knows that Thorfinn doesn't have it in him. Like he's like, this is
okay.
literally just some kid, probably never killed another person. He has the will to keep living, but he doesn't have he's not a killer. He's not a warrior yet. Um, and he like, I feel like again, Askeladd took a lot of time to at the end of the last episode, it took a lot of time to really kind of like hone in on Askeladd, and that he was like reflecting on, I think, what it meant for him to take Thor's life, even though Thor's didn't take a single life of any of his men and such.
Mhm.
And I think he's like, laying there like, you're not going to do that because your dad wouldn't want you to do that either. I think I think Askeladd's way more in Thorfinn's head than he's letting on, for sure.
That's why I like like as soon as in the first couple episodes where we saw him sort of outmaneuver Floki just that
Uh-huh.
little bit,
Like this
like
isn't just some guy.
it's like next level, so much so. And for him to play it off that way, where it's like, ooh, I am kind of mad that this character's in here, because I know what he's gonna present in the story as a formidable foe for most of these 12 episodes. I don't know if he's gonna continue, or if Thorfinn kills him next episode, or whatever's gonna happen. But for 8 episodes, Thorfinn is on the chase for Askeladd, and it it's believable because of the things that he does, and I love the characterization of him, of Askeladd,
Mhm.
and the
He's just that lovable scoundrel archetype where he doesn't play by the rules, he doesn't play fair, but he's so charismatic while he's literally breaking the rules in your face that you can't
yeah.
help but love him.
I don't know if I
He's very
love
hot.
him.
I mean, love to watch what he's doing,
Sure, sure, sure,
like as
sure.
the audience, not like as
Yeah,
somebody interacting with him.
yeah,
Kind of like
definitely.
a Han Solo is where
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
gonna go next.
a little.
Or again like a Yondu, just that like I play on the rules of the law, and I take mines where I can get mines.
It's really interesting the way that they arrive there. So they arrive in England. Thorfinn goes off because he has no food or any water. He finds some water and all that stuff. But Askeladd takes his Vikings to like sort of pillage this town, and we don't see him really lift his weapon a whole lot, like at all, during any of these 4 episodes. He's always the
He
leader.
does it to like deflect a freaking arrow or something like that.
Yeah.
But he's not using it, and he used it to get that guy off Thorfinn, but he's not like consistently engaged for sure. He does more more directing, more commanding than he does fighting.
Yeah, because he uses his, like, you see this a lot in a lot of shows or whatever. The person that can talk more, that's his weapon.
Hmm.
His tongue is his weapon. So he is more of the talking, getting out of things,
Yeah.
directing people.
There's a reason all of these other pirates, these plundering, pillaging, types are, bound by his word, because he's probably the type to have always have a plan and been able to pull off a plan even when they're backed into the corner and the chips are down. He manages to pull one out for them.
But the thing that makes Askeladd worse than any other character that we've seen in other shows that were good at what they do at speaking or anything. Like, I think he's one of the better fighters as well. So
Yeah.
it seems like he has a lot going for him. He can talk his way out of situations. He can talk his way into leading people,
Mhm.
but then he also has the skills to back it up. So it's like, man, how can we get around this guy?
Yes. So what would you say if you had to pick something? What would you say it would be a flaw of his, or his biggest flaw? For me, I would probably say his like overconfidence and
Sure.
cockiness and being in his own skills. Like, it's okay to
Uh-huh.
be confident, but I feel like there's a sense of overconfidence, and that especially comes in when he starts talking to the town master about like, oh, anybody's useful. You just need to know how to use them. And I feel like that's a little bit of maybe
I
mixed foreshadowing.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think that there could be a way to have everybody turn against him. It would not be easy because the easy argument would be like, yo, Askeladd has been, oh, we're talking in the future. Askeladd's been having us get a bunch of gold every year. We've been under we have fortune and fame. Everybody knows about us. So it'll be a little bit difficult. But I think ultimately that's the way, is for everybody to sort of turn on him, or somebody to get everybody against him. And that's how we could see the downfall of him, because he's nothing without his people,
Without
uh,
the support.
without the support, without the ability to maneuver somebody's life around his and make it about him. Um,
He is, I feel like, the one of the like catalysts of the whole. I don't know if catalyst is the right word. I feel like he's a good
I think
example.
so.
I'm sorry for like, the whole idea, you don't have enemies, nobody has enemies. And in Askeladd's case, this is, somebody who probably has that mindset. He probably doesn't see people as enemies. He probably doesn't see himself as having enemies.
Mm.
He probably just sees every person he's using, every opponent on the battlefield is just pawns on a board.
That's such an interesting way to frame it, because the way that Thor's sees people is that there are no enemies. You as a person are good and people are good, and there's nobody out to get you innately. We are all humans. And that's the way that Thor saw it. So it's definitely just the yin and yang of it,
Mhm.
where Askeladd, yes, I don't see people as enemies. I see people to be
As
used as
opportunities.
opportunities. And it's like such a cool like juxtaposition between the two main characters, I think.
Because
Even though Thor's gone.
he starts to use Thorfinn to his benefit, and we've seen that he has unruly people that work under him, especially that one guy that ate the berserker shrooms. But we see
Bjorn.
Bjorn, but as we spend more time with the crew, like, Bjorn is an asset to him. He's like his
Yeah,
right hand man. He's his strong man. He's the muscle. He's the take care of this shit. Pick him up.
it's really good. We have so much to go. We could talk about Askeladd and all
Yeah,
this stuff. It's really cool. I really like
I
that we
really
could
enjoy the show so
just
far.
dive into different things, but we have so much to go and we're already 20 minutes in. Um, so Askeladd, Thorfinn challenges Askeladd to a duel. Doesn't end very well. Askeladd, they showed a scene here where Askeladd gets rewarded for killing Thor's, and Floki's people are asking Askeladd for information about how Thor's died.
Yeah.
So that was probably directly from Floki,
Uh-huh.
indicating that he may care still, that he may want to know for sure that it was done correctly. I thought that was really interesting. But then we cut to the village in
It was
Iceland.
interesting, and it was also interesting the answer that he gave, where he was like,
Mhm.
died like any other guy.
And that
And
sucks.
yeah,
That hurts.
and it's like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It does.
It's like he wasn't, though. I mean, he did die like everybody else, but
And
like
he knew that. He
put
knows that.
some put some respect on Thor's name. Jesus Christ. We cut to the village in Iceland, and the family gets notified of Thor's death. I love this scene in the show. They do a lot of showing and not telling. They don't need to tell us what Ilva is doing. They don't need to say it. I love the way that they just showed it to us, that she doesn't seem bothered. She takes on way more responsibilities, throws herself into everything, not to feel the grief. If we're human, you know what's happening. And then when her mom tells her to stop, like, no, like, stop. It's okay.
Bro,
It
that shit
just
hit.
tears running down. It's like, I love it. Show that to me. Don't tell it to me. And it was done beautifully. I love that
Yeah.
for the character.
We didn't need to have our hand held to explain what she was going through, what just happened in that sequence. Yeah, like you said, if you're human, you know what just happened.
It was super good. I did not expect it for the show, and when they kept going with her scene, and I'm like, oh no, like I was pleading to her, like, just stop, like, it's
Yeah.
okay, like, just
Yes.
stop, it's fine. Yeah, it was a lot. It was super emotional. Um, Flashback to Thorfinn. Bjorn is picking some more mushrooms. Finds Thorfinn. Wolf tries to attack Thorfinn. He kills the wolf with his dagger. Eats a rabbit. Gets a little bit better. Challenges Askeladd again. Throws his dagger at Askeladd's head. And Askeladd asks him to prove himself in battle. And that's when the journey begins. Episode 6. What happens in episode 6?
The ooh, my the pirates land in England and and Thorfinn witnesses the realities of war that have come before him. Thorfinn is forced to defend himself, causing him to take the life of another soldier during an ambush. And Askeladd uses a battle-hardened Thorfinn as a spy in an English countryside after a few years pass. Thorfinn gets wounded in battle and is saved by a mother and daughter living in a village by the sea. And Thorfinn gives Askeladd the signal to raid the town the next night.
Bro, that scene, I hated it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Feels bad, man.
so the journey begins. I mean, this is sort of the start of this uphill, just years flying by of and
Like the
information.
campaign has begun, basically.
Yeah, we had the prologue, which is like the big defining moment for our character. And now we cut in media res to 1002. The English attack the Vikings. The English have been the desire for the Vikings, Danish warriors. Um, Denmark dispatched many to England. The Vikings were thrust into war to defeat the English. So it's like spinning this crazy narrative that I'm not a historian. I don't know how much is accurate or whatever, but like it's weaving these webs that are I don't know another show that had it other than Game of Thrones. I know I referenced it last time, but like this thing that's moving around us as we are Thorfinn, there's like pawns moving around us and shaping the world in real time. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, I don't hate it. I'm just like, where is it going? What,
So
why?
another show I'd compare to on that level, and we have watched it here, would be Code Geass. As you get further and further into that show, it definitely like that. Like this is it's definitely there are some comparisons to Thorfinn and Lelouch for sure. Like you
Okay.
can draw some comparisons to them as like anti-heroes because yeah, we want to root for Thorfinn. That it's not like the cards got played in his way, but you especially over the course of this episode, you watch to see who he becomes, and there's a sense that he doesn't like the person that he's becoming either, but it's like I've come too far at this point, and that's um there's another
Like,
show recently that I was watching that's similar to that. There's a show that just came to its second season conclusion called Solo Leveling, and that show also handles these concepts about like as you grow stronger and accomplish these feats that are incredible, like, and you're getting incredibly powerful beyond what normal humans should be, but are you losing something else in trade for that? And that's what we're
because
seeing.
yeah, because really, and we see this whenever maybe a bad guy usually in a show has this one track mind, but we see it here in Thorfinn, like ultimately, I can see he's gonna kill Askeladd. Okay, I know the end result that will probably happen, but the journey and what becomes of him afterwards when he finally does do it, because we're seeing the better part of his life with the crew developing these skills to kill and be one of them. And I think really in the end, it'll be Askeladd that ends up quote unquote winning. He turned the son of Thor's into him. And now what's next for Thorfinn after he kills Askeladd but to become the leader of the Vikings here? And it's like, no, is there a way out of this destiny? And you just seeing it
Just
go
seeing it
and
play out
go.
in front of
You're
you,
seeing
beat
it
by
play
beat,
out.
beat by beat. And then,
And it sucks.
we get that extended period of him going through all these battles, and then he gets sent into England as a spy into the countryside, and then we see him saved by the mom and the daughter, and he wakes up in that bed after, people saved him and they're sitting there offering him food, and he just has this look on his face where it's just like, he's gone. Like
It,
it's not the same kid. It's not the same kid,
no. One,
unfortunately.
because because we skip ahead quite a bit to like, what is it? Year
Jump ahead like 4
1008.
or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. So
Maybe even 8 years. 7 years? I think the last time before the jump, it was like 1001. So I
yeah,
think it's been a
so
solid 7 years pass.
the
He
episode
goes from Navy
begins the episode begins 1002 and then it goes to 1008.
6 years.
So yeah, he does get significantly older, already been with them for so long. And what I also think it showed was with the woman and the girl that ends up saving him, picking out his lice in his hair and sort of, caring for, and it was definitely built into a lot of religious stuff because that's what England was, I suppose, at that time. But like they were good people, whether what they were doing was because of their religion or they were just genuinely good people. I think the
Mhm.
older lady was genuinely good,
Yeah.
but it really showed what his life could have been and what he's sort of turning his back on being a child.
Yep.
He lost his childhood. He lost being able to play and hang out and this other life of maybe making bread or doing chores and all this stuff. And he gave that up to be this warrior going into vengeance of the heart here. And it really just showed what he has left behind. And like you said, he doesn't care. He's just there. And I feel bad for him as a person.
Mhm.
He's just kind of
It's like he doesn't care, but I don't. It's definitely just, yeah. He hasn't real. I don't think, even though he has that part of him that knows that he misses that life that he used to have, I don't think he's truly realized that it was taken from him.
no,
I think he still just thinks this is his path, and his path is vengeance. He is going to kill the person that killed his father, because that, if it wasn't for that person, his father would still be there. And that's this mindset that we see him challenge. I forgot the dude's name again, the berserker guy. He challenges
Bjorn.
that to Bjorn, and Bjorn says, your father was a strong warrior. He was kind, but he was naive.
I'm
Simple as
just
that.
I'm just so like I can see his life going further. I've only read up to around this point in the book, so I don't know what's coming next. But like I'm just so afraid because I can see into the future a possible timeline where he is so just um wrought by the vengeance he wants to have against Askeladd. And it seems like in these moments he doesn't care about everything else
Yeah,
and he just has that on his mind where like
blinders.
his life is passing him by chasing the revenge because he thinks once that revenge is done, I can live my life now. Like once that's done, my life will have this weight taken off of me. But he doesn't understand that his life is
Has
going
become this.
away.
Yeah.
It, it's
passing him as he chases this
and it's
frivolous and pointless dream
and it's
because
just super sad.
he has no enemies. No one has enemies.
Man, dude. I really hope this isn't a tragedy. um the older lady lies for Thorfinn as they came looking for him. Um Thorfinn ends up signaling the rest of the pirates by burning the house, and just some great character work. Oh, also, I was watching it in English. Did they Are you still watching in Japanese?
While I was grabbing the screenshots, I was rewatching certain scenes in English.
It was a little confusing starting in this episode because now they're like, did they switch from speaking Japanese to English or
It was
anything?
I'm no, it was I'm pretty sure it was Japanese the whole time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like maybe they were speaking something improper or with a different dialect, but I didn't pick it up. I
Because
couldn't
it got a
tell
little
because
confusing
Japanese.
because it got a little confusing watching it in English because
One of them is supposed they're speaking Danish, and then they're supposed to be speaking English, but everybody's just speaking English.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I was like, wait, so every time that I've heard Thorfinn talk, is he actually speaking Danish? And during these certain points, he was speaking English because he knows English and they know English, so he was kind of saying some broken English,
yeah.
and I was like, uh, I don't know. It got a
So
little
I think
confusing.
when he was speaking the broken English, that's him speaking English, but when he's talking normally, he's supposed to be speaking Danish.
Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
wait,
Yeah.
do
Wait,
I know
what?
Danish this whole time? I understood them. Hold on. So it was a little confusing there. So I was curious if they had changed dialects or anything.
How did you feel about like I mean, I immediately again draw a parallel in the show when, Thorfinn gets rescued by these people, and it's like, it's crazy that it didn't seem like anything dawned on him about the time that like when they found somebody that was injured and brought them in and cared for them. Sure, it was a slave and he's not sitting there with a chain around his neck, but still
Ah,
I feel like
okay.
the show keeps doing these things that just in different ways, showing that like these are the cycles, and that was that lady's way of attempting to break the cycle, because she, at that point when that guy comes up talking about a scout and he's about to draw his dagger, she knows what's going on, she knows
Yeah.
what's up, she understands it, but like she says, they're whether in this case it be because of religion, but before they didn't rescue that slave because of religion, so this is just a different instance and showing of it. But this lady's like, these are the reasons why I'm choosing to attempt to break this chain from continuing, but the show continues to show that the chains are stronger than the people that are trying to break them. So I again, like you said, I hope it's not a tragedy, but that's why I bring that up, because that's
There
immediately what I think, where we keep seeing these instances of people bound by some sort of chains. Even Askeladd says, all men are slaves to something. And I'm just waiting for
great line.
where we go. Okay, so where are we going with this again?
Yeah,
Where do
because
we go from here?
that's sort of how it started, with a slave washing up on their shores in the snow, enslaved to somebody. And we also had that other the person that went to go find him and his obsession with men being in chains and things like that. I'd even see the parallel here in that moment, man. There's not, I mean, there's
Whether
a
or not
lot.
it's intentional,
No,
I feel like I'm seeing it.
definitely. I'm Now that you said it, it just cleared up the picture. But like, and it feels like a test. Like Thorfinn
This is
did
your
not pass
chance to
his
break the
test.
cycle. You don't have to do this. And he's so close. He tells them to run because he knows he's not doing the right thing, but he still follows through. And that is a very, like,
Could,
obviously if he just decides not to, this, all right, roll credit, story's over.
yeah.
So we
No,
need
I
him to
mean,
make these mistakes to learn from them. But still, it's like, dude, you're right there. You're right there.
like, why didn't you run? Like I told
Why
you.
didn't you
I
just
told you
not?
in English. Yeah. No, but it is there's so much nuance to it, and it's really nice. Like there is a lot going on screen, even though sometimes it just feels very open and really like the river, like we're slowing down in the riverbank. But um, there's so much nuance to his ideas, and like he's chained to Askeladd, or he thinks he is. He in his mind, he's chained to this revenge that he has to fulfill. But in that, he's losing everything that his father was trying to teach him, and everything that his father was trying to make him be a better person, and be a better person for
Than
this
he
war
was.
than he
Than
was
he was.
for this war torn world that's going to happen, because that's the kind of people that Thor's thought the world needed, not another
Not
soldier
another warrior, not another soldier.
doing this whole thing. We got to keep going. Episode
Yep.
7. Episode 7, Partner in War. What happens in episode 7?
We see the Danes planning their full-scale assault on England for next summer, and then we see Askeladd sending Thorfinn to deliver a message to the leader of a French army that the gang witnessed failing in attempting to siege a fortress. Thorfinn convinces the leader to agree in a co-opted siege, and the following day, the army attacks the French fort again, and due to the help from Askeladd's men, they manage to conquer it. Thorfinn takes the head of the general leading the defense, and Askeladd's men clear out the fortress, gathering all the treasure and departing for home. Shortly after, Thorfinn challenges Askeladd to his duel for taking a feathered helmet.
On paper,
Super generic episode on paper.
Yes, you know,
but the way everything's played out, like you said, moving parts, the way there's in this episode, they managed to pull off, like, there's 3 different moving parts. You have Thorfinn, who's kind of acting on his own accord. He's a part of the pirate faction, but he is not quote unquote loyal to them. You have Askeladd in the pirate faction. Then you have this now we're introducing the French, and this little toad man, and his army, which his battle technique is send wave after wave of men, don't care about the casualties. And then you have this generic English fortress trying to hold itself down, and it's just a short skirmish about what happens when the pirates get involved with this.
Yeah, it's I did like it. We went ahead into year 1012, so we are doing time skips again into just key moments of Thorfinn, and it's just for years going on. We see him growing up, we see him changing a little bit, and then we zero in onto this little story of the Kingdom of France. That the Danish king says soon he will lead the army to the English. That's ramping up on the outside. Askeladd's pirates have already raided all the decent villages, so they're pulling out. They have to migrate, enter France, and this whole other sort of world of fighting. And now we're introducing crossbows. Is that what it's called? Like automated crossbows?
Crossbows, which a lot of media and video games get crossbows so wrong. I'm so happy to see how crossbows were represented here. They are terrifying and devastating when used effectively in a siege defense, just like this, because you are literally just firing down overhead straight at people, and they break shields. They have like crazy armor piercing potential. They are very scary. Look up a YouTube video of somebody firing a crossbow IRL. It is loud as a gun. There's a lot going on there, and it's just it's terrifying to see, you know, their impact, and it very much sets like a tone that, like, hey, these guys, there may not be a lot of them, but they are holding down the door.
Don't fuck with them.
Yeah.
What are you doing getting close? No.
And so, like, sorry, go ahead.
No, it gave me vibes of like JoJo's, as I've been reading JoJo's, because it goes in chronological order of this era, this era, this era. Now we're going through different years, and now we're seeing this other era of war start to form in this other area of the world. And it's like, okay, that's kind of cool how we're progressing in time. I really hope, I mean, it would be cool but I really hope this revenge journey doesn't last generations. Who knows? But like, it's really cool to see the changes of war and the changes on Thorfinn,
Mhm.
because I think it was this episode where we see sort of a flashback, or the next one. Um, no, I think it is in episode 8 where we see like a flashback to Thorfinn as a kid, and I'm like, that feels so long ago.
Yeah, but it
Like they
was really just
flashback.
episode 5.
Yeah, and it really does it so well, because whenever I think he's talking to Bjorn about how, oh no, I think he's talking to the girl. We'll get into the next episode, but they do like sort of a flashback to where he's being held hostage with his father. I'm like, holy shit, he aged before my eyes. I was
Yeah.
like, I forgot he
And
was
it's
that little
crazy because,
boy.
like, with that too, where, like, because of the way, humans age, we see we
What?
see Thorfinn be going from a hostage taken by this pirate crew, growing up into somebody that can like stand among them, even though he's still like he can be pointed out as somebody that's younger. But the rest of the crew, they're like, they're like in these little time capsules because, at their age, however many years have passed, and it's like they're not changing, except for Askeladd, who has, at least I feel like facially, you can see his age beginning to wear on him. And here's my big prediction. I think we're going to see Askeladd die of old age before Thorfinn kills him in a duel.
Brother, that would suck.
And I
But
think
it
I think
is,
that's going to be the lesson Thorfinn has to learn.
it's a tragedy, yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh
I don't
man.
think he's going to get his kill on Askeladd. I do not think that's happening in
mean,
this
yeah,
story. It would
what
be the complete antithesis of everything that like the story is trying to set up as being the morally correct path.
I mean, the story is trying to say what's the worst that can happen and then bring it to us. And that does seem to be the worst thing that could happen. That
He's
he
like going to
does
have
not.
some heart attack or a stroke or something.
Oh my God. If he dies, if he drowns just so unceremoniously and we just have Thorfinn hearing about it, oh, that would, oh, I don't want it.
Or
I don't
like
want it.
something's gonna happen to where he's gonna be hurt so badly, so impaired that it's like, if I choose to duel you, like it's not this, I'm not gonna be getting my satisfying victory because you are not the man you
You're
used to be.
mortally wounded. I'm
You're
mad
at
now,
death's
Matt.
door anyways.
Thanks for that. I'm mad because
I'm
that's,
sorry.
now I know.
But
Now I
that was
know.
my big prediction walking in out of episode 8. I was like, yeah, after he had that conversation with the slave girl, I was like, there's no way he's gonna get that. And if he does, it's gonna have some, like, I mean, it's going to be the cornerstone of a like major upset in his story or something. It's gonna be something that it might happen, but it might happen in absolutely, again, like you said, the absolute worst way imaginable.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a tragedy, but it is gonna be. Um, we the battle rages on. Askeladd, he finally like kind of verbalizes it a little bit here that he has been using Thorfinn. He's always risking Thorfinn's life because who cares? And like we've been talking about this whole time, he uses people and he is using Thorfinn and dangling the carrot in front of his face to get him until he doesn't want to anymore. I mean, he's been using him for years. So he's like, yeah, it's just going to keep going this way. I have this thing over him and he wants to play by the rules, but I'm not going to. So it's a done
And I
deal.
never
I
do.
have him. The Vikings joined the fight. They're carrying their ships, which was insane. I love this.
I did not see that coming, to be
It was
honest.
so good.
Oh my god.
They have that little king guy. They end up stealing all the money from him, or all the jewels from. They have this whole plan. I feel like almost the story of the episode is not important at all. It's everything else. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, they're gonna go in,
it's
steal
just
all
a
the.
set piece.
It's
It's
a
just
set
a set
piece
piece.
for sure. I loved the action animation in this one,
Yes.
especially.
A POV sequence.
We are here. I was
It
literally
was
gonna
so cool.
cinema. I was like, first person, no shot. It was so cool. Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
when he hops over the shields, you don't see his body, but the way the camera is delivering it, you can get a sense of his movement. And yeah, he like the point when he hops over the shields, gets some momentum, and then slides underneath another two guys to just zone in on his prey, which is the feathered head. Amazing.
So it's so cool. Like we've talked about in other anime, like the rule of cool is the thing, and you can suspend disbelief for anything cool. Him launching himself over the moat to dagger himself into the first person POV. Fuck it, bro. I don't care if that's realistic. That shit was cool.
Yep.
So I'm for it. Takes the head of the general. The head of the general falls in the water. We don't see him again for a while. The Vikings steal all the treasure, and Askeladd was gonna leave Thorfinn. He was just gonna leave.
Like, oh, he probably died. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get out of here. I'm rich, biatch. He brings him the head of the general and then challenges Askeladd to the duel as they make their escape. What happens in episode 8 to the end of the sea?
Askeladd and his men dock in a village where Gorm, the feudal lord, rules over. Later on, Thorfinn and Askeladd duel against one another with Gorm as the witness. Askeladd manages to get the upper hand by upsetting Thorfinn with taunts against his father. After his loss against Askeladd, Thorfinn watches over his father's ship for the night, where he sees a vision of his late father and meets the slave girl Hordaland, as he shares the story of a place where war and slave traders cannot touch Vinland. The scene or the episode ends as we see a crazed Frenchman throwing axes, or a crazed Englishman throwing axes on the harbor of London. City of London.
It's all going down.
Big Ben, where you at?
Bong. It was called I wrote it down, didn't I? Did I not? It was called something else. Oh, Londinium or something.
That's probably what they called it at the time.
Yeah.
That old English talk.
Maybe. I don't know, actually.
French francs. Where they hot dog?
Yeah. Where you fucking wiener. You fucking wiener. November 10, 12. We go back. It feels like a set piece. Like we are moving our characters around to set up the story, where the most interesting thing isn't what they're actually doing, it's how they're interacting, their next moves, how Thorfinn is still on this quest. But we do meet some other characters. Uncle Gorm, who's sort of like the money keeper, the person that's handling their funds, or like just a guy there. I don't know. A respected
I do
person.
like that it's like, even though it's a Viking show and we've been getting a lot of long ship place to place, like the ocean itself doesn't really feel like a character, but it does feel like a location. It does feel like a setting in the show, the open ocean, the English channels and such. But I really like this whole idea that like these roaming pirates, like they have this small haven that they come back to kind of like rest and recover before they go out to find their next haul.
Yep. And we meet a Norwegian slave to Gorm, Hordaland, who will probably be somebody that's a bigger character later. I think They sort of set her up a little bit, but now we get the duel that was challenged in the end of the episode, and I think it hurts more because as somebody on the outside, and we're not feeling what Thorfinn feels, and we're not having to see Askeladd every day for years or whatever, we see what Askeladd's doing, and me and Caitlin called it a mile away when Askeladd started talking during the duel.
Yeah, exactly.
And it hurts so much more seeing him fall into the trap, like every time. And it's like, I know he's a kid, but he's been an adult for a long time, and it just makes you feel really bad because Askeladd gets him all hot and bothered here and super mad, and he makes a mistake, and he could have had Askeladd, but he used.
So we've seen we have seen Thorfinn as has downtime with the crew, and he doesn't talk to them, he doesn't interact, he's just stoic and in his own shell. And over the past, yeah, how much time did we cover? Like 8 years, maybe 9 years. He has just been stewing over this one thing. That guy killed my dad, and I'm gonna kill him someday. So it's just it makes sense that, like, somebody where all
Yeah.
you've been focused on is this negative thing that happened and how you're going to take revenge on somebody. So you yourself have like you've stagnated yourself, and you are still mentally, you are, even though you've grown stronger and you've become a fighter, arguably a warrior worthy of challenging Askeladd, you mentally are still the same kid that saw your dad get hit with a volley of arrows. You have not grown emotionally since that day.
And it shows because even back then he did sort of the same thing whenever they were attacking, or he did like a little outburst like, my dad's gonna kick your dad, or basically, my
Yeah.
dad's gonna kick your ass or whatever and stuff. And we see that sort of same anger in him, that childish anger. So it definitely lends to what you're talking about, where Askeladd's like, you're stunted here, and I can get you,
And
and
until
I
you can
can.
get over that, I'm gonna be able to get you every time.
And it sucks. And it sucks seeing him pop his shoulder. It gets him down on the
Oh
ground
my
and
god,
pop. And it's like,
that makes
oh,
my stomach turn over.
it was really bad.
Ugh. And again,
Um,
then we just, yeah, Bjorn, pick up the trash.
yeah. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
He says, I have a duel before dinner. He is not taking
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
serious.
exactly.
This
Like,
man
I
is
gotta get
not.
this done so I can eat.
Yeah.
And that's what he says right after. He's like, all right, I'm ready for some mutton.
Yeah. It's the worst.
Hungry.
Thorfinn's alone on the ship, and it's really a testament to Viking labor here that they still have his father's ship. It does not go down. This is the ship that they've had for many years. And I'm like, holy cow, I didn't even think about that until they said it. That was his father's ship. And I'm like, crazy. Yeah, this is where Askeladd says that one line about all of us are slaves to something.
Yes.
Which is another theme for the show. It's really hard to pinpoint where it's going to go. I do think it is going to end tragically, like you're saying, but I want to know the lesson. Like, I want to.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
feel it. I can feel it on the tip of the tongue, and I want them to say it, and it's going to be a big release. Like, oh, after we see, because we're seeing the beginning, the journey began, like you said, start of the campaign. Once we get the full scope of the story, it's like, oh, this is what you're trying to tell me with this character. It feels almost Shakespearean, where we're going on this adventure of the character and coming out with something after we've seen their whole life laid out.
And especially with the fact that, like, we have characters that are acting more on like emotion and motive, even though they're not like talking about it out loud and stuff. It's a very emotionally driven, kind of a
narrative
mindsets, things that are pushing the plot and people forward to do the things that they're doing. Very emotion based.
Yeah, because we see Hordaland possibly getting this. We're gonna get some more story between Hordaland and Thorfinn. I kind of do like them together. I maybe set
Especially
up something
because, like, now
romantically.
they're literally two mega, like, outcasts that are now in close proximity around people that have been with each other for a very long time.
And I liked that he told her about Vinland.
Yes.
That
he shared a piece of his childhood with her, a piece of him that we now see he hasn't completely forgotten about.
I love you, Matt.
There. It's
That's
there.
exactly that's where I was at. I was like, that's what I was feeling. I was like, they've shown so much of him that has gone away. Like, all the moments where, like we've been talking about, he is just this other person. He is lost everything that his father taught him, and he's just becoming this hell-bent character, going through his non-existent life looking to kill the man that killed his father. But then there's that little glimmer of, I still have that story inside of me. I still have that. So then maybe I still have all the other stuff inside of me. And it's like that, like they're like, even the way they did it, even though the way they did it thematically, there was a pause, and then it got quiet, and he's like,
Yeah,
there's a place. And I'm like, I got
he
goosebumps.
decided. It didn't just like, it's not something that he just was like over eager to share. Like he thought about what she said. He thought about the story that Leif once told him, and he thought to himself, am I about to share this? And then he did.
And him sharing that, or sharing himself in the future to somebody, whether it be Hordaland or to somebody else, will help that flourish, I think.
Hopefully.
And help him shed what his vengeance here. But 1013 in Denmark, a year later, we see Fjord talking to the king. The time has come to show the English the power of a true king. We see the Prince Canute going into display valor in battle. The Vikings invaded England, led by King Swade, I think. 5 major cities get overtaken. They continue and overtook all their forces. They halt in Londinium. And this was Askeladd, right?
No.
Are you sure?
I don't think so.
Look at these two faces.
Look at the eyes. Blue eyes, hazel eyes.
Oh, shit. Well, then who's this guy?
He's the big bad. He's London's big bad. He's Jack the Ripper.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Sure? You don't even
Maybe.
know.
I'm guessing. I'm sure he's going to be introduced next episode. I just feel like, we're like London. We said, London is the economic hub of England. They're going to have their guy there. And I think this is their guy. Just like how, the Nords, the Danish, they had the troll. They have these figures that are figure people that are capable of feats bigger than human strength or capability allows. And this guy just chucked an axe off the harbor, went through 4 guys, and almost cut down the post of a longship. So this is just their guy. And he might be Jack the Ripper. It might be, he came out of hiding because he heard that people were about to try to come and pillage his territory. So no, you're staying over there because this is my turf.
Yeah. It
probably not, but
I didn't know. I didn't know he does look different enough. I just thought it had been some time that Askeladd had.
It is very close, especially those 2 screenshots back to back.
That's what I'm saying.
No, they're definitely not the same guy.
Okay.
Can't be the same guy.
Okay. If Askeladd's chucking hatchets next episode, I'm gonna be mad. That's the end of the anime hour. We talked about Vinland Saga, episode 5 through 8. Give us your thoughts. Let us know in the comments. If you're watching this later, let us know what you think about the show. Next week, we're going to not finish the entire anime, finish our watch of the anime. Watch up with episode 9 through 12. Going to get through this arc, then give our final thoughts and rank the anime. We'll let you know what our final thoughts are on the anime and where it should place. And then next time, we're going to pick a brand new anime. Next week's the last time we're talking about Vinland Saga, and then moving on to a new one. Matt, when you are not on a saga of revenge, where can people find you?
You could find me on my socials. Follow me on Instagram or on Threads at itsmatt_galley, or you can follow me on my YouTube at Matt_galley. Jules, when we're not here trying to be the stop to the cycle of war, where can the people find you?
At JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. On Instagram, I post sometimes. Haven't been posting a lot. Just been vibing. Big vibing. Playing some DC Dark Legion. It's my favorite mobile game right now. I know I'm behind, but you can watch past episodes on Spotify. If you don't know that, we have a ton of episodes, season 1, season 2, tons of episodes. And if you're like, man, I want to know if they talked about this one anime, go back. We have over 100 episodes. Go check them out and see if we've talked about your favorite anime, or if we haven't, $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch, and you can put it in the chest. Put it in the chest.
Put the suggestion in the box right now.
Next week is the final time we're speaking of Vinland Saga, and I'm really sad to see it go. But it's been a fun ride. So,
22 episodes or 21 something in the first season. So it's like, you know, I also am forgetting that like this could be drops in the bucket compared to the larger narrative, maybe.
I think I really liked it more. Like when I was reading the manga, I could not stop. I kept turning and turning, but I did get a little confused because they were moving kind of fast in the time. And I was like, okay, this guy looks kind of like this guy. I was like,
time skip.
So I do enjoy the anime a lot more, but now that I'm watching the anime, maybe I'll go back and buy some of the other manga.
Helping the timeline make sense.
Yes. Because I remember after 2, I was like, that was cool, but like
it was definitely a saga.
I had to, there's 7 more of these books. Jesus. Bro, the saga had been sagging since the first book. Vinland Saga episode 9 through 12. Go watch it. Come back next week. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.